Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free, doesn't cost anything. If there's something you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Princess of Pentacles, absolute, perfect manifestation of something. This is a dream that has now become real, so real that you can't really distinguish it from the dream. It almost feels too good, right? It's too real. It's too perfect. It's like we've created this thing and we just can't find a flaw in it, right? Very good energy. Very, very good. Ooh, Ace of Wands. Very nice. Let's see what else we got. Now we've got some Chariot energy. I got a 5. Yeah, you've tried. You've been working at this, right? It hasn't been easy, but look, you've accomplished it. Yeah. We've got a 7, even a 7 of 5 and 7 of Pentacles. I think you've tried a lot and failed a lot. Now we realize that it's through our failures that we make progress, that we get this future that we are dreaming of. Because you're not done yet, right? There's a lot more for you to manifest. Got the Star card, 2 of Swords, the Star, 4 of Swords, and an 8 of Swords. A little bit too much thinking going on here. A little too much overthinking, a little too much analysis. We don't need analysis, we need vision. We don't need thoughts and debates and reasons why. We just need passion, fire, consciousness, right? We need our eyes open, our hearts open. We need everything open. And we need to do, right? We don't need to think about it, because the planning is good. We see, we like the planning. We got a 2, 4 is okay, but the 8, we just keep doubling things, right? It's exponentially worse, and that's what the mind does. The mind thinks, oh, well, a little bit of thought is okay. Maybe an infinite amount of thinking is going to make it even better. We get an 8 of Swords, we're just wound up so tight. We're so trapped in this complex web of thinking and plans and analysis. It reminds me of a meme of Charlie Day. I don't know if you know who that is. There's a meme where he's just got all these diagrams and things behind him, and it's just it's a mess. So the way to manifest this perfect dream, perfect thing, perfect success is not through thinking more and more about it, right? It's through fire and earth. We've got a lot of earth here, and we've got the fire right in the middle of it. It all comes down to a unified will, a very simple but powerful fire energy, right? And that's how we take all of the efforts, all of the movement, right? Now, the 5 of Pentacles in the background could just be random chaos, entropy. It's just stuff moving around, right? It's just haphazard, random changes going on in the environment. But if you put your will into it, then we get control over this force of change, and we realize that this is how we create the future. This is how we do our long-term thing here. The Knight of Pentacles. The Princess of Pentacles is, I think, the step-by-step, every step along the way is a perfect manifestation of your will. And that is us slowly getting that future that we want. Because the Knight of Pentacles is long-term goals. But the Princess of Pentacles is something perfect that you can savor right now. Right? So this is, I think, something that you've always dreamed of. We've got the Star card here. We've got the Chariot card here. Very subtle, spiritual, kind of watery kind of cards, you know. Even though the star, of course, is Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. Don't mistake it for a water sign. But to me, it's kind of like it's an in-between. It's not quite air, it's not quite water. It's just that spiritual light energy, water stuff, you know. It is that kind of divine essence. And I think that it is present in your life. I think that you're experiencing a lot of synchronicities. I think Spirit is speaking to you crystal clear right now. But don't let that crystal clarity get clouded by all this thinking, right? What we have here is perfect. The Two of Swords into the Star card is perfect. Okay, because the Two of Swords says, yeah, there's decisions to make. We've got to know kind of what to do next on this long-term plan, this long-term journey that we're on. We have short-term success. We've dreamed of this. Is really good. But these short-term successes are part of a long-term journey. And we need to know, a decision needs to be made. Okay, what's next? Where do we go from here? All right, what do I do now? The Two of Swords is giving us the answer. We don't think about it. See, the Two of Swords has the clue right at the top. It's that little fingernail crescent moon at the top, right? And that's telling us that we don't have to think about it. It's not a reasoning out. It's not a, well, get out your calculator and your pros and cons thing and don't make a diagram. You know, we don't have to do all that. What we have to do is defer to the spiritual energy. Defer to that part of us that can receive the divine light, right? Our lunar energy. And that to me is really a combination of these cards. It's saying we trust in Spirit. We get the light from above. That shows us where to go. But then we kind of then we'd start doubling down on the thoughts. And those are just, we got it. Get those out of there. But they're there, which means it's a potential. Now, the tarot doesn't ever predict the future. I don't know if you know that. The tarot is never going to tell you what to do. We're taking a snapshot of the energy. There is the potential for this energy to just double down on the thinking and completely drown out this star energy. Because this star is that divine light which first comes from above into your consciousness, illuminates what's within you. Okay? And what it's doing first and foremost is illuminating your need. It's showing you how to take your will, your intention, your Ace of Wands, and get control over the chaos in your life. Get control over all these things that are changing and moving. This is just random movement, right? And it just, we don't like it. We don't know how to deal with that. We can't predict it. And it just leads to this feeling of nothing is going my way. Everything is just failing. But if we exert our will, then all of this change is in conformity with our will, and we're doing magic now, right? And now we're able to get a handle on that. We can't stop the force of change, and we can't really control it, but we can influence it a little bit. And that's what the Star card is telling you. That's the inner illumination, okay? The outer illumination is then what's coming next. The outer illumination is what the Knight of Pentacles is looking at. The Knight of Pentacles is following the starlight that's shining on the ground. So the star has two functions. First, it illuminates something within us, shows us our own nature and power. And then second, once we realize our nature and power, then we can see the path before us and we know what we got to do. We know how to do it. We know that we can do it, right? So the light comes in, it clears the lens in us, right? It clears it cleans up the window pane, and then that light can be projected outward and show us the way, show us our path, right? And that's what's going on right here. It's doing the inner illumination, and it's showing you the path forward. Okay. I think that you've, in some ways, resolved yourself to things not going your way. It's almost like you're kind of fortified against failure now, right? This is the card of failure. Almost that we're kind of used to it in a way, right? But we don't need to be. We need to go this way. All right. We'll talk more about the Chariot in just a moment. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right here. Mr. Ed right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during this program you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction down in the comments. Let's do it together. Let's make it a group exercise. Okay. All right, looking around at the room here, we've got two major arcana energies, the Chariot and the Star. Now, we can use these to our advantage, right? Because these two cards in these positions of the spread, of the Dove and Serpent spread, these two positions are connected. This is what is beneath the surface of you. This is what is kind of outside the surface of you, right? This is inside the planet. This is outside the planet, or on the surface of the planet, right? So this is within you. This is outside of you in your environment. Okay, and that's why I say that you've got a lot of these synchronous, a lot of light is coming in from your environment. You're starting to really see the way, you know. It's helping you to see you and who you are and illuminate your nature and powers. It's also showing you the way forward. Now, this is something that's inside of you. This is your ability to stay the course. This is your ability to continue to work toward manifesting this absolute dream, something you've always dreamed of, right? I think this is it for you. This is the perfect success, right? That you're able to stay committed to this work despite the hardships. You have this ability to commit. You have this steadfast, tenacious energy. And what we do then is we pledge our allegiance to our star, to a spirit. We pledge our devotion and we give ourselves to this divine energy and we commit to that. And it's through this, I think, that we then start to harness the power of change a little bit and we start directing it where it needs to go. It's kind of like the, what are they called? The sandworms in Dune or something, right? You can't really control them, but there's a way, the Fremen know a way to use them, right? To use that force. Those sandworms, they jump on top. They have these little hooks. They pull up the little flaps, and it causes the worm to turn, and that's how they kind of are able to steer, you know. So we're able to steer the force of change just a little bit. Okay, but we need this inner illumination and outer illumination to know where to steer it. Of course, we're steering it away from the failure, away from the hardships, away from the idea of things not manifesting. See, we look at this card as failure, but really it's just something that hasn't blossomed yet. It hasn't taken root. It hasn't blossomed. There's something to do with the roots here for you, something to do with home. This has something to do with kind of like your idea of home or where you're putting down roots, right? That's what Spirit's telling me right now. It could be some kind of home improvements, something to do with like literally where you sleep at night, okay? And the star, I think, is a very important guiding light for you right now. But the Chariot really is our ability to stay committed, stay devoted to what we're doing. Yeah. So we've got the two major arcana. We have a little bit of fire, and the fire's right in the middle. This is what we need to activate. Okay. We don't have any water. We have too much air over here, which is something we've got to avoid. And then really it's all about this earth energy. It's all about taking the trouble and turning the trouble into opportunity, right? Challenges into successes. And I think the Princess of Pentacles is really saying a lot. It's saying that things are currently going according to plan. This is a card that's saying everything that you dreamed of is going to manifest just perfectly, right? Saying that you have all of the resources that you need. There's nothing lacking, right? And this is really a very promising card. And I think it's showing us the kind of step-by-step success, incremental success that leads to the long-term plans. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is the one that's looking at the future, has the vision, the fiery vision of the future self, who you are in the future, where you are, what you're doing, right? How you're doing. Once we have that vision, you know, if you know where you are in the future, let's say 5, 10 years down the road, let's say next month even, if you know what that looks like, then we know what we need to do right now to get there, to continue taking steps. We know what the right manifestations are now, thoughts, words, and deeds right now in the present moment that are as stepping stones to our future self. Well, these are the stepping stones. This is the card of the manifestation of those stepping stones. Okay? So these two cards together, or maybe this way. This shows us the path. Okay? And we have to follow that path with that inner sense of power, knowing our nature, knowing who we are, the ability to make choices, the ability to control our thoughts, words, and deeds in the present moment. Because it's kind of karma, right? And we have to have the fortification, we have to have the strength and discipline and obedience, really, the commitment, the devotion to our star in order to continue making those right decisions. Now, no one's perfect, okay? This is what we're striving for. This is the ideal, right? We have to have the discipline and the skill and the trust to control that sandworm, like in the Dune movies. I haven't seen the new one, the new version, from this year, the part 2. I haven't seen that yet. If you have, let me know if it's any good. No spoilers. No spoilers. But I'm looking forward to watching that with my wife here. Okay, so all of the air energy that we got a lot of it. Okay, we talked about the 2 of Swords into the star energy, but then we've got the doubling down, right? The 4, the 8. It's exponential, right? It just keeps doubling. And it really is kind of the, what may seem very simple choice in the beginning, left or right, yes or no, door 1, door number 2. We see the very simple choice, and it just becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8. It's too much, right? And I think that we've got the 4 of Swords in the position of this is the difficulty, right? The difficulty is to kind of stop at this point. This is the absolute limit. And the 4 is kind of talking about that. This is where we just have this disengagement from the debate, that we maybe have the conversation here, but then by this point it's just like, okay, it is what it is. I'm trying not to engage in the back and forth anymore. I'm trying to slow my mind down before it starts getting to this point, right? We keep doubling this energy. And if we get to this point, it's a runaway train. It's just going to keep doubling. We're going to have a 16. We're going to have a 32. We're going to have a 64. And it's never going to stop, right? So we try to hit the brakes here, right? And this is the obstacle. And this is, I think that this is that part of our mind that may not be so ready or willing to accept the will of the divine. All right, let's say maybe with those terms. Sometimes part of our intellect, our rational mind, let's say, our Swords energy, is not going to want to trust or believe in what Spirit is telling us. It's sort of like we get all these signs and synchronicities and these omens from the external world. There's that part of our mind that's just saying, it's all nonsense. You're making it up. You're imposing your bias on the universe, and you're seeing what you want to see. You're seeing patterns where there aren't any. It doesn't matter. That's the trick about this. It doesn't matter. And so the 4 of Swords is saying that I'm not trying to convince myself that I'm right. I'm also not letting myself be convinced that I'm wrong. What I'm saying is that this debate is a moot point. It's completely irrelevant if we are seeing the patterns that we want to see. Maybe we are. Good, right? Good. If it's leading us to the expansion of our nature and powers, if it's leading us to self-knowledge, if it's leading us to progress and discernment and choices and commitment. So we're kind of saying here that, the key of this is that there's no right or wrong. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And we don't need to have that debate with ourselves or with anybody else, right? Maybe there's someone else in your life that is kind of looking at us and thinking, how are you interpreting that as a sign, right? That's just kind of just random graffiti on the wall, but no, you see a message in there. It's just random paint splatters, but no, you see something there. It is very subjective. And it's supposed to be. It's not a message for them. It's a message for you. And speaking of that, let's do an angel number card. Let's get our own omen, our own message here, yeah? Let's see a pattern where there aren't any. Let's impose our expectations on the universe. Let's see what we get. 0550, the eye candy, right? Someone else sees a splatter of paint and you see a beautiful piece of art, right? Someone sees garbage, you see treasure. Intuition, inspired action, beauty, art, socializing, flow, potential, and maybe even some romance, right? Get some fresh air or call some of your pals over. Take a look around you, right? Well, this is what we're doing with the star card, right? There's so much natural beauty waiting to be discovered. Either you will soon become involved in an exciting new project, or you will go out on a date. Put your charisma to use everywhere. Spread your charm around. Well, that's really the inner illumination becoming the outer illumination. It's illuminating the path before you, but it also kind of makes sense here that if we realize our own nature and powers, we realize the sun, the solar, the star that we are, right? And that light comes out from us, well, other people are gonna notice. We're shining our light into the world. It's not just for us to follow the path forward. I mean, yes, that's part of it. It's illuminating where we need to take our life and our energy. But it's also kind of, it's our charisma, it's our charm, Other people are gonna notice that. It's in the way we handle ourselves, the way we express ourselves. It's that kind of charisma too. So I like that. I think that's good. So look for that series of numbers or those patterns, right? Look for the double digits separated by the spaces, right? The zeros. Let's also do a Metatron Oracle card real quick. Then I want to look at the mystery card. There's a Metatron Oracle card. Here we go. We've got the Void. Retreat, rest, pause. The Void. Interesting. Very interesting. I kind of like the similar spiral energy that we seem to have up here with that star, and then of course with that void right there in the center. I think that's good. The void, rest, retreat, pause. I think that it kind of invokes the imagery of disengagement, right? Disengaging from any kind of intellectual debate or the stress or the frustration, because we certainly don't want to get to the Eight of Swords. That's overthinking, overanalysis, right? It's what they call analysis paralysis. Too much thinking, too much planning, not enough action, fire, and all this earth energy. That's what it's all about. That's what action is, fire and earth. The impulse, the will, and the behavior, the manifestation of our behavior, of our will. Okay, fire to earth, that's what it's about, not overthinking. We think, we plan, yes, fine, but we need to will and act, right? We need to have that inspiration and we need to implement it. Okay, so the void, this might really be just a return to source. It might be trusting in that star, trusting in that void. It really does remind me of the star card, it's supposed to be the void, but it's an infinite light in that void, right? It's the light in the darkness. And that's, I think, what we are looking for. We see the darkness here. We're looking for the light to show us that this is not a failure. This is just something that hasn't blossomed yet, but it looks dark, right? We need the light in the darkness, and that's coming from the star. That's the inner illumination and the outer illumination. So I like this as an oracle card. And maybe, a little bit of rest, a little bit of pause is going to be very helpful for you to allow this starlight, this divine energy to come into you and illuminate you from within. Now, mystery card. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't have a strong feeling either way with this one. I kind of would like some more fire energy, maybe a 6 of Wands. If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. Let's see what we've got. No, well, more earth energy, an 8 of Pentacles. This 7 to 8, right? That we're realizing that this isn't a failure. It's just something that hasn't been cultivated, hasn't blossomed yet. So this is us now doing what we need to do in this moment, doing this work, focusing on these details. It's an 8. It's not an 8 of thought. It's an 8 of action. It's an 8 of behavior, right? So we're not planning what to do. We're doing what we have set out to do. We're executing the plan. We're behaving in the way that we have intended. And we're doing the work. And we're manifesting our future step by step, day by day, right? Very good. And this is what you've been dreaming of. And I think this is excellent. We're going to do an extended reading before I lose my voice. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's one down below. Okay. New readings for Gemini, Monday and Friday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.